Okay, everyone, welcome to week number 4 of Education for Better Work, a self-reliance class for students and professionals here on LinkedIn. And this week really brings together everything we've discussed thus far. Um, so it is a good time to review a couple of the concepts that we have delved a little bit deeper into. In week 1, we discussed the fact that companies hire individuals who provide value. Over the last few weeks, we've dug a little bit deeper and determined it is our education which allows us to provide value. Only when we translate our education into what we actually learn and can then produce. In week 2, we talked about certain job realities, such as people get hired for a reason. Either they possess the skills required and did the job somewhere, or they knew who to talk to, a hiring manager, a current employee, or so on. In week 3, we discussed that education means the acquisition of skills and, as I said, the ability to apply them, thus providing value to an employer or a client. If you select your education options with this in mind, you can demand the salary or rate that you really deserve, earning the income you need to become self-reliant, all of which brings us to week 4 in our LinkedIn networking workshop. So over the past year and a half, I've spent a lot of time looking at LinkedIn profiles, whether that was, looking for hiring managers myself, trying to network with people in my own industry or in other industries, just trying to grow my professional network. But more recently, I've had the time to look at some LinkedIn profiles of those who either recently joined or haven't necessarily taken the time to really develop their profile. And I'll come out and say that everyone, including myself, can improve their LinkedIn profile. It's not something, I don't think it's something that's ever done. It's something that you continually refine and work on. And then additionally, you should also remember that anything that you need to change on your LinkedIn profile, very easy to do, almost instantaneous. So just remember, it's easy to fix something. It takes very little time, but you do need to know what changes will make the most impact to your job search and career advancement. With that being said, something to keep in mind is that certain activities on LinkedIn will make a bigger impact than others. Above all, you need to know where to put in your effort because effort is important. Now, I want to refer back to this quote from week 2, which is success by the yard is hard, success by the inch is a cinch. And that applies to someone job hunting. It applies to a student going to school. It also applies to certainly an entrepreneur starting a business. And in this context, it applies to networking as any one of those people in any of those positions or life situations. Right off the bat, and this is one of the reasons why it's a good idea that we recorded this presentation. This is a phenomenal resource that I wanted to share with you from a LinkedIn creator named Jeff Sue. It's about an 8-minute video. It's probably going to take you maximum of about 30 minutes to do everything he actually says to do, but you'll be able to pause the video and follow right along and do everything that Jeff says. I've seen people who join this class and they get through week 4 and they do this assignment and their LinkedIn profiles are completely transformed. Okay. I also have created a challenge, like a LinkedIn profile challenge that I'll be sending out to every one of you, where you have the opportunity to, take a snapshot of your LinkedIn profile as it is right now, and then do this little tutorial. And then you can enter in for a chance to have a professional resume written for you. It's something that I do, but I love seeing these transformations that people can make in just such a short amount of time. And doing all these things that Jeff says to do in this video, that's available to anyone, it will instantly qualify you for a job. And you may ask, in what way? What job is it going to qualify me for? Well, when someone looks at your profile after you follow this guide, this tutorial, they will recognize the effort that you've made to present yourself as a serious professional. Before I go on, I want to say that, we just talked about certain things or certain activities on LinkedIn have a greater impact than others. One of the greatest impacts that you can make is to connect and interact with other people. However, it's very important that you have a dialed in profile. And that way, when people come and see what you're about, they see you as how you want to be seen. And they can learn about you, they can connect with you, and perhaps learn what value you have to provide them. So that takes us to why LinkedIn is so important. Your LinkedIn profile is more than a digital resume. It is your digital persona, which can walk into an interview at any time, 24/7, even when you're asleep. So how does that interview look like? A hiring manager, a recruiter, a potential client, a potential business partner, they come across your profile and they decide, do I want to move forward with knowing or connecting with this person, or do I want to move on? And that's effectively what an interview is. As an operations manager and a hiring manager myself, I have that experience in knowing very quickly when meeting someone if they're going to be a promising candidate. We talk about how, in the first 5 minutes, you can make a great impression. Well, that time is so much smaller in an online format. You have to, within the first few seconds, maybe even 30 seconds or less, you have to make a great impression. And so that's why we want to focus on your LinkedIn profile. It is the best way to make that impression. So you need to first do everything that our friend Jeff says to do in his video. Otherwise, you're not prepared for that digital interview. And it's coming whether you are expecting it or not. It probably has already happened. Someone's come across a profile and they decide, this person really doesn't have anything going on. There's no reason why I need to connect with them, or that I need to see, what can they do for me, right? So there are primarily three types of people who use LinkedIn. The first are looking for a job right now. There are those who are currently employed but keeping their options open. And then the third are providing services or selling products. And you might initially think that each of these three types of people will use LinkedIn differently, but you would be wrong. Okay. In week number 2, we talked about how you and we all need to think of ourselves as a business. And nowadays, a business will leverage technology. Otherwise, they go out of business. So I want you to think of LinkedIn as a tool rather than a social media platform. It is a piece of technology. It's a system that you can leverage. Scrolling on LinkedIn and checking out content has some value, if you're following the right people, but by and large, it's some of that wasted effort. That's not a very good use of your time. So we're going to talk about some of the more useful ways that you can use your time if you are on LinkedIn. Obviously, so many of you who are in this class, I connected with you on LinkedIn. So you have an idea of what it's like, the user interface and things like that. So we'll go from there. There are 3 laws of connection that I want to share with you. And these are the fundamental laws or guidelines that I want you to think about to really leverage LinkedIn in this way that I've been discussing. The first is to use the filter and find alumni working in your desired field or in your current field of work. The second is to join just 3 or 4 LinkedIn groups related to your work field or a field of study. And then the third is to connect personally. Okay. Now, the first thing that I'm talking about, these filters. So this is where you go up and you search for people. If you go and you find the alumni tab, you can find, I used Brigham Young University, Idaho, for example. You can also look for, BYU Worldwide or Pathway Worldwide. Really any educational institution will have a LinkedIn page. And even if they don't have a page, if enough people go to school at some place, then LinkedIn creates the page itself. So at the time that I pulled this search, there were just under 134,000 alumni, meaning people who currently attend. Alumni generally means people who have graduated, but this also includes people who are currently enrolled as students. But that's how many people on LinkedIn either are attending or have attended Brigham Young University, Idaho. That's a lot of people who you can connect with. And it is shown that alumni are much more likely to assist you in your job search and your career advancement than really anybody else. And it's there's a little bit of psychology involved, but it's people who are only connected with you, peripherally or from a distance. They have enough in common with you, and they may feel that they can help you or that you both are like-minded and things like that. Especially with any Brigham Young University school, you have a great resource, a great source of people who are willing to help you. How are the ways that they can help you? They may be able to refer you if you're applying to the company that they work for. They may also have opportunities for internships and things like that they can help you with. So an example, my example specifically, was that a year ago, I was interested in working for Samsung. So I wanted to find BYU Idaho alumni working as managers for Samsung and connect with them. And what I did is I used those two keywords, Samsung and manager, in that alumni filter. And I found 50 people with the job title of manager who worked at Samsung. So you can really narrow down your search of people. Let's say you're looking for a job as a virtual assistant. Well, you would want to go and find people who maybe are office managers or entrepreneurs or people who need your services, and you can connect with those people. And then, as I'll show you in the following slides, you connect with them and kind of engage with them. Okay. The second law of connection is to join those specific groups. Join people or join and connect with people who are working in the same field as you work in, or people who are interested in the same things, career related things. And so what I did there is I just chose certain BYU specific networks or groups on LinkedIn. And I would say that some of those are beneficial, but you'll see that some of them are specific by field. So the automotive program, design and construction management, those are the ones that you're looking for. Only join, 3 or 4 of those groups, and then find out, hey, is there value in being a part of this group? You can introduce yourself, but really the benefit of joining these groups is that, as some of you may have noticed on LinkedIn, you cannot directly message someone unless you're connected with them. Well, a workaround for that currently is that if you're in a group with someone, then you can actually directly message them completely for free. And you don't have to be connected with them directly because you're actually connected with them through this group. So that allows you to do some of the things next that I'm going to be discussing. The third law of connection, which is to connect personally, we'll break it down into a couple different examples. So the first is comments, how you comment on other people's content. Now, you really only want to comment on people's posts who have a lot of followers. So we call those creators on LinkedIn, right? So for example, this gentleman, Bob Mahler, he had several 100,000 followers. And some guidelines that you want to go through or go by for your comments, when you do comment, you want to demonstrate your expertise. You want to tell a story if you can, and you want to claim a skill that you have. And so Bob here had shared something about leadership and hiring and developing and retaining people. I have a lot of experience with that. And so I shared a story that demonstrated expertise. Again, it was compelling, and then it claimed a skill that I had. Now, why comment on Bob Mahler's post? One of the reasons would be to now I'm visible to all of Bob's followers. Okay. So they see me and they see my name, they see my picture, they see what I'm about, and they click on my name, and then they start to learn more about me and maybe the value that I can offer them. Okay. Hiring managers perhaps could go and learn more about me and think, hey, I'm actually looking for an operations manager. I'm looking for a general manager. Let me see if this person is looking for that job. Recruiters will use that as a way to learn more about you. But they only can learn about you if you are out there engaging and connecting with people, right? The next way to connect personally would be to send a personal message or a direct message. But if you see, so for example, if you see someone posting about starting a new position or graduating or really anything, you can leave an impression, so like or congratulate or celebrate that post. But then you want to move into a direct message with them. Now, of course, this is a person that you're connected with personally or you're in a group with, and that way you can direct message them. And when you do that, when you send a direct message to someone, it gives you their undivided attention. If you just comment on someone's post, then they can easily forget about you. They can kind of, they see a post or they see comments. Maybe they don't respond to other comments, but they will generally respond to a direct message. Always adding an open-ended question in your direct message is also very important. Okay. The worst thing you can do is just say hello, because hello, first of all, there's no reason to reply to hello. And it's not a very compelling message to receive. Okay. So you want to start a conversation with them. Now, I will say, don't worry if they don't respond to you. There are many reasons why someone could just not actually see your message. Maybe they don't log on LinkedIn enough, so they miss a direct message. Maybe they have notifications turned off on their phone or their desktop. If it's someone that you are serious about connecting with, then messaging them once, waiting a week is perfectly fine. Follow back up. Hey, just wanted to see if you saw my message. I wanted to ask, fill in the blank, whatever. I cannot tell you how many people, we're here in August, right? I started these self-reliance classes in March, and as early as April, I had messaged some people, and just the other day, I received a response from someone that I sent a message to in April. I told them, hey, have you heard about my self-reliance classes that I'm hosting here on LinkedIn? And for all these months, they haven't responded because they didn't see it. And then they responded just the other day saying, no, I don't know about it, but I'm really interested. So hopefully you don't have to wait that long to hear back from someone, but that's a great story to illustrate that no effort to connect with someone goes wasted on LinkedIn. Okay. It's just a matter of time before they get back with you if they don't get back with you right away. And some follow-up may be necessary, as I said. The guidelines for direct messages are to, one, write something relatable, perhaps compliment them, or add value. Okay. Now, there's a couple of other ways. You can leave a comment, but then also send a personalized message. So, for example, this one person at this time, they had been complaining a little bit about not finding a job. And so I commented on their post. I said, hey, are you looking for something different? I'm running the self-reliance class. Check your direct message. And then I messaged them directly. Okay. Not only does this tell and show other people who are reading their post, hey, this guy Kevin is doing something about like self-reliance or helping people get jobs. Maybe I'd like to, and then they click on my name and they view my profile. But then also the person who I am communicating with directly, they get a personalized message that we can talk and continue the conversation privately in case they don't want to have that conversation publicly. Okay. Now, in conclusion to our presentation this week, after you've done all of these things and experimented with some of these different ways to connect, it's time to decide how you will communicate with your LinkedIn connections and followers. You need to share what you know about your industry. And if you don't know enough to talk about your industry or talk about what you know, that's a good sign that you need to learn more about your field and sharpen some skills in your in your field of work. But with that being said, putting yourself on the spot, demanding something more of yourself, you'll be forced to learn. So first and foremost, if you are not posting at least twice a week on LinkedIn, I would say if you're looking for a job, if you're looking currently for a job and you're not posting on LinkedIn twice a week, then you're definitely limiting your chances of getting a job. Because yes, you can apply to jobs. Yes, you can reach out to people, but demonstrating your expertise is an excellent way to get people to notice you. And then you follow up with the people who either comment or like your post, and you just learn more about opportunities to work with them or to serve them or add value for them. Okay. So this week's homework assignment, first and foremost, you must complete that LinkedIn profile guide from Jeff Sue. Again, that'll be in this presentation and recorded so that you can go and do that. You'll want to start connecting with people. I know some of you have under 200 connections on LinkedIn. I would encourage you to start connecting with 5 to 10 people per day. Start with people who go to school at BYU schools. That's a great way. It's a very easy way to connect with people. Generally, they'll accept. And then also try to join at least 2 to 3 industry-specific LinkedIn groups. If you're into construction, look for construction groups. If you're into digital marketing, go and find some digital marketing groups. Join them, see if they are of any value to you first, and then try and connect personally by messaging and posting in that group. And then continue your skill journal that you started last week. That completes our 4th week in Education for Better Work. And we are right there at our time today. So I really do want to thank you all for showing up. If there's any way that I can help you personally, please reach out on LinkedIn. That's the best way to get a hold of me. But you can also email me as well if you have my email. But with all that being said, that concludes our presentation for this week. And I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you next time.